SBI, IndusInd. That's where you can see the slide coming in for the Nifty itself. But one of the stocks that, one of the companies that stood out with its auto sales numbers was Bajaj Auto, considering that in several other spaces we saw reversal and falls in sales. Bajaj Auto at least reported positive green ticks as far as their total sales were concerned. But what stood out was the export numbers. So let's invite Mr. S. Ravikumar, President Business Development at Bajaj Auto, into this conversation. Good morning, Mr. Ravikumar. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, let's start with the export place. That's where a lot of people have seen pain. How has yours been?
Yeah, in fact, I think in this scenario, this month we have Bajaj has recorded the highest ever monthly exports in its history. So that is fantastic news. And about 182,000 units across the globe, and almost every region kicking in with the expected numbers, and that is where it has been. That's what I sort of guided last time for this month, and that has really panned out
Okay. We just lost what you said in the towards the close, Mr. Ravikumar. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
We just missed the last sentence that you were saying. I only wanted to know if you had problems from countries like Nigeria, where demand had fallen on account of the currency and the inherent weakness in that economy. Which are the pockets which gave you these resurgence of demand?
You see, about 75,000 of this 180,000 has come out from the Africa, that region. That is a very good number. And another 75,000 has come from, let us say, the South Asia, Philippines, that type of a region. Another 30K has come in from LATAM and Mexico and Central America region. And almost every region has done quite well. In fact, what has really happened is in many of these countries, the local currency depreciation has happened already in the past, and that is one story. And the second is Chinese, whatever corrections that they have made in the recent weeks, that, I think the quality of the Indian products are very well recognized there, and these types of tweaks, even if they are large, may have an impact in other sectors, but certainly in two-wheeler, I think quality is king. So that's how it's panning out, and we are in fact seeing that going forwards also, it's a steady state of affairs as far as exports is concerned. Another very important thing is, though we are on paper, YoY, we are recording a 4% growth in exports. Last August, we had almost 27,000 units of bumper from Sri Lanka government order, and this year that is not there. In spite of that, we have recorded this growth, and it's really gratifying. And another thing, of course, you know very well, is the exchange rate there at 66 plus. It is a lot of juice for us, and the juice really flows all the way to the top line and straight from there to the bottom line as well. Every 1 rupee, this is an internal secret I am revealing to you. A 1 rupee higher realization in exports will straight away translate to a corporate EBITDA of almost about 60 bips to 70 bips. So that's really interesting.
Okay, Mr. Ravikumar, hi, good morning. Well, good to hear that the export piece is improving. Can you just tell us what is the export order book that you're seeing, the visibility, say for the months of September and October, and what could the run rate be?
See, we'll talk September. September should be 170 plus.
Okay.
So that's quite okay. But given all the things that have happened very recently, about the next quarter we can talk a bit later, but we are not seeing any alarm bells or things like that. But that said, we'll be foolhardy not to take cognizance of what is happening around us. So we have to live by the day when it comes to what's happening in the global economy. That we'll continue to do. Our export department is very watchful of what's happening all over the place, whether it is pricing, profitability, volumes. As of now, things are holding, and they're steady.
Let's come to the domestic piece now. Can you give us the brand-wise sales that you saw for the month of August, between the CT100, Platina, Discover and Pulsar?
Yeah, City 100, we did about 60,000 odd units.
Okay.
And Pulsar Avenger was about 55, 56, if that's what I remember. And total, I think in motorcycles in domestic, we did about 137,000 units. And that 137,000 was flat as compared to last August. Here I should give the total industry scenario, especially in the motorcycle space. You know, the total industry, I mean, whatever numbers we have put together, that is about 823,000 units for the industry, which is about 9.5–10% degrowth over last August. Okay. In this scenario, we have found that you know, a lot of big players have lost 18%, 15%, 11%, and things like that. We have held our own at a flat. I mean, there's margin, no growth there. We have just done 137. But that said, we have to look at it at a declining industry. We are holding on, and our market share is improving. And in fact, in retail, I think it should be hovering around this 19%, which has been recorded in the recent months in retail.
So CT100
mainly is.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you said 60,000. Is that only for CT100 or for CT100 and Platina?
Yeah, correct. CT100 and Platina is about 60 in that lower end. And
that's actually lower than
you've talked.
That's lower than what you had guided for. I mean, you had said last month that CT100 and Platina will go to about 80,000. Are you seeing any reduction in the enthusiasm for those two products? Because those two products have been the reason why, you know, your overall sales have improved domestically.
Yeah, that's right. And I think in terms of percentage contribution and what they're doing in the various markets, it is continuing to do well. And you see, there is always between the three segments of the industry, there is some movement between the various seasons. Like I told you last month when we talked about this, the marriage season is good for the entry segment and products like you know, Platina and City. And then come college season, then the Pulsars have a greater weightage. And overall, I think you know, this particular period, we should also keep in mind that you know, as compared to last year, when Diwali was in mid-October and all festive season was stacking up to October mid. This year, the Diwali is almost middle November and it's a bit spread out. And so nobody is going to build up for the festive in the month of August itself. That is not which has happened last year. So we have to keep that in mind while looking at numbers.
Yeah.
And City and Platina are quite okay. And I mean, you will see the numbers in October more close to what I have guided, and that is what's going to happen.
Okay, Mr. Ravikumar, finally, you know, do you expect the stocking this time to happen in September or in October, considering that Diwali is in November? And secondly, how seminal are these stocking months? Are they indicative of the mood for the second half?
That's a very good question. In fact, certainly the stocking will start happening in the month of September, because you know, nobody can produce everything in 1 month, and so even the producers and retailers will play it out over the next couple of months, not in August, but certainly in September and October. That said, we have to see the overall scenario again is I mean, is not very encouraging. You know, when you're having a month-on-month 10% type of a decline in the motorcycle industry, it's and we have seen how Onam has gone. So things are not looking very bright even this festive. But we have to, that said, we have to wait and see. Monsoon, you know where it is. And only good thing for the company is, you know, the products that we have played out in the recent past, City Platina at the lower end, the RS Pulsar at the top end, Adventure Sport Pulsars, all these are doing quite good, and these products have given us a much relatively better plan to play out in this domestic scenario. And again, going forward, so you know, in the month of October, right, the beginning of October, we are going to have a lot of exciting action in the Avenger brand. So I think that will come and do well for the festive. So let's see. I think, but the scene is not overall industry scene is certainly not so interesting or so bright.
All right, Mr. Ravikumar, we leave it at that. We hope things improve in the festive season. That's our only hope, because so far things have been